What's up, YouTubers? Welcome back to Guitars, Whiskey, and Golf. Today, we're still on guitars and guitar playing. Gonna give you a little quick lesson on triads and how you can use major triads to make music and jam with yourself. So what is a triad? A major triad is simply the root note of the chord, the major third, and the fifth. So if you're playing an E, the root note is obviously E. The third is G sharp, and the fifth is B. So that's all a major triad is, or really all a chord is a grouping of three notes that make up that chord. So the complexity of the guitar is that it's 6 strings and all of these frets. So you have all these combination of notes that repeat up the guitar neck. And so it becomes very complicated, at least a little bit complicated, to figure out where these triads are for all these chords all over the neck so you can play music with them. So you probably, if you've been playing guitar for a couple years or so, you know this A chord here, which is barring the second, third, and fourth string with your forefinger at the second fret. Well, that's an A triad, major triad. So you can move that up and down the neck. Two frets up becomes a B. One more fret up becomes a C. 2 more frets up, D. 2 more frets up from there is an E. So right here, using this same shape that you know in first position as your A chord, you can move it up here and that becomes an E triad. So that's your E chord. So how is that useful? Well, you can begin to build a chord progression using these triads. So what if you wanted to do a chord progression that was something like E, B, A, back to E. So that's actually a 1-5-4 chord change in the key of E. A lot of ways you can start to play that rhythmically. You can start doing things like something like that. But if you start using triads up and down the neck, you can get different sounds. Plus, you know, a lot of times you see guitar players playing these full bar chords like this, which are fine, and those are correct. There's nothing wrong with those, but they have a tendency to tie up all of your fingers. So if I make this A bar chord here, I have no available fingers to do really anything else. They're kind of all stuck there making that chord. If I make an E triad like this and play an E chord, I have all these other fingers right here that I can start doing things with. So let's just start with that same chord progression, E, A, and play it in a different position on the neck. And you'll see that you get a much different sound than this. You get a different tone on the guitar. So let's start here, and then I'm going to go to a B here, to an A here. Again, these are just triad shapes. So you could do something like this. Something like that. That's a little something that you can jam off of. So what can you do with that to create a little bit more movement in the chords to make it sound interesting? Well, with these other fingers that you have available, because you're just playing little 3-note triads, well, you could maybe just start experimenting and adding notes. Like maybe this note here. It's actually the fourth, the perfect fourth of E, but we don't need to get into that much theory at this point. But what if you start doing something like, you get a little movement all of a sudden, and then go back to the B, and then what could you do there? Well, you could add this note with your pinky, which is on the second string. So there's little variations that you can start to develop. So, you know, if you're practicing this, the first stage will just be this E triad to the B. And what I'm doing there is just walking back up to the E, really, from the A. So the second level was adding in those little extra melody notes. And then the third step of it would be to start developing little lead parts for yourself over these changes. So, you know, little stuff like that. You know, this is not great work. I'm just making this really up as I'm going along, but you can see you can start to develop little melodies and little lead lines and little riffs in between the chords. So stuff like that. So I'll do some more deep dives into this, you know, as the channel develops, but try to learn a little bit about triads because they're cool little ways to work your way around the guitar neck. They're not complicated to play. As you can see, I'm playing an E with just one finger. Couldn't be simpler than that. Second string, third string, and fourth string, barred at the 9th fret, and you've got an E chord. You have this little stair step kind of shape where I've got the second string, third string, and fourth string fretted, and that becomes your B, and then 2 frets down becomes an A. So, you know, these little easy shapes can help you make good music. So, all that kind of stuff. Hope that helps. Check out your triads and start trying to use them around the neck, and I think you'll find that it opens up the fretboard for yourself. All right, take care, you guys.